I'm going to preface this by saying I am freaking the fuck out. I tried telling my boyfriend what happened, but he's sleeping right now. He works the night shift, he sleeps during the day, and just mumbled some dreamy gibberish and rolled over. So I'm writing what happened here. Hopefully I can start thinking rationally about what happened after I reveal it through writing this. So, my university has been online this semester. Because of COVID, of course. I'm a third year, so I have to write a junior paper. Basically, a practice run for writing a senior thesis. I wanted to meet with one of my professors to discuss a particularly confusing fraud text, and he agreed to meet with me today, even though it's a Sunday. I was really grateful to him for meeting with me. Anyways, our meeting started around 1 in the afternoon, and everything was fine. He was explaining something about the Oedipal complex, and I was scribbling notes and chiming in with questions. About 5 minutes in, he must have heard a weird noise from somewhere in the house, because he apologized and said his dog must have knocked over a chair or something, and apologized for the noise. His mic didn't pick it up, so I didn't hear it, but I told him it was no problem and we got back to it. Just a couple of minutes later, there was another disruption, scraping, and his dog barking loudly. I didn't realize it then, but remembering it now, the dog's noises sounded desperate. My professor excused himself, muted his mic, and left the room. I was about to flip over the Google tab and check my email when I saw something flutter on the screen. Just a shadow. The curtains moving with the breeze and causing the light to shift. That's what I thought it was, until it had moved back within the frame of the camera. It was a figure cloaked, mostly in shadow. Or maybe it was made of shadow. I don't really know. It was humanoid, but its features were uncannily proportioned. The legs were long and spindly. The head seemed too large for its body, and the arms looked like they were broken because they were all crooked. They were wrong in a way that was difficult to place. It was standing in the doorway, which was in the frame for the camera, with its back towards the computer. I don't know what it was doing. I realized I was holding my breath. It moved suddenly, and with speed that shouldn't have been possible. Or maybe my video feed lagged, and I couldn't see it anymore. My professor came running back into the room, put his headphones on urgently, and started talking. I noticed that there was blood on his hands and on his face. I told him I couldn't hear him, that he forgot to unmute himself. And when he finally unmuted, he was saying, "Ugg is hurt. I have to go take him to the vet. His feet are all I'm sorry, but we'll have to do this another time." I tried to warn him about the creature. I really did. But that thing was too fast. I said, "Professor, there's something in there with..." And as his face turned from concern to complete terror, that shadowy thing appeared behind him. It wrapped its fingers around his head, and I saw them going into his nose, mouth, and eyes. The thing lifted that man's body up after that, and his microphone was picking up choking sounds, garbled screams like what someone drowning would make, and weak barks and whimpers coming from further away. As far as I could tell, the thing made no sound at all. I could see my professor's torso and legs. I saw him kicking as he hung in the air with a shadowy figure standing behind him. I saw his arms reaching up to his face, and I saw them flailing. I could tell he was scratching at that thing's hands. Red started to dribble down the front of his shirt. He stopped fighting soon after, and the room was eerily quiet. I was completely paralyzed in fear, and I realized my mouth was gaping wide open. A crunch was picked up by my professor's microphone, and blood spilled down his body. I hadn't seen it, but I now know that the creature had crushed his head. It dropped his body to the floor and turned around. It seemed like it was going to leave that room, maybe go and finish off the dog. I realized I had been waiting for it to leave to stop the Zoom call, almost like I had been hiding in plain sight, or maybe I was too horrified to stop the call, too shell-shocked. If only I had left earlier. The thing turned around and looked at the computer. Not just at the computer, but at the camera. Like it wanted me to know it was looking at me. I moved my mouse over to leave the meeting, annoyed because I knew it would take 2 clicks. I was panicking. I was about to leave when I heard it speak, in a voice that sounded exactly like my mother's. Something I hadn't heard since she died. It said my name. As it spoke, its mouth flashed open, revealing teeth that looked too normal for the rest of its body, stained pink at their roots. I left the call. That was 4 hours ago now. I have a paper due tomorrow. I don't know what to do. I didn't call the police. Who would believe me anyways? I'm wondering when the university will announce that a professor has been killed. I wonder what reason my classmates will postulate during our online seminar tomorrow for why the professor isn't showing up. Should I even go to class, knowing that there ultimately won't be one? And I'm scared that I'm next. It said my name. Every time I hear one of our cats scuttle across the floor, or whenever the heater kicks on, my heart skips a beat. When my boyfriend wakes up, I'm going to tell him how much he means to me. Until then, I think I'll cry. It was a Friday afternoon. Online class was as usual, taking forever to finish. The teacher was droning on and on about something I don't even remember anymore. I think it was a math class. Anyways, that's not why I'm typing this out. To describe how boring online class is. I'm typing this out to warn you guys not to slack off. I couldn't help but glance at the time down at the bottom of my screen every couple of minutes. The time ticked agonizingly slow, and I couldn't help but think about other things I could be doing right now. So I did what most students would do in online class. I muted my online class but kept it running in the background. I started up COD and started playing. While my teacher thought I was listening in class, I was actually enjoying myself playing COD. I don't know how long I played for before I suddenly got a ping from Microsoft Teams. I checked the time. 20 minutes had passed. I quickly switched over to Microsoft Teams and unmuted the meeting. Turns out, my teacher had been trying to get me to respond for some time. "What were you doing, Adam? You need to pay attention in class," the teacher told me with a very frustrated look on his face. I apologized and turned off my mic again. The teacher continued the lesson, but I didn't care at all, so I switched back to COD and continued playing. I played for so long, I didn't even realize my meeting had long ended. I asked my friend for his notes, and he sent them as usual. I was going to pass my exams without even paying attention in class. I played games the rest of the day and watched a bit of TV before I went to sleep. I was playing COD once again during my online class. Suddenly, I got a notification once again. I quickly switched back to online class. I immediately sensed that something was wrong. I felt a sinking feeling in my stomach. My heart rate quickened and I felt nauseous. Everyone was staring at me. 20 pairs of eyes were focused on me. My classmates had immediately wide grins on their faces. I could see all their teeth. The teacher was staring at me too. His eyes were bulging out of his sockets. Blood was running down his face slowly like tears. His eyes were bloodshot. He had a wide smile on his face. It went from ear to ear. He reached out for me. His hand came out of the screen like the screen was merely a window. I froze in fear. His cold fingers curled around my throat. He tightened his grip. My body was slowly losing air. My face felt warm and my chest burned. I felt like I was being crushed. My body was running out of oxygen and I could do nothing about it. It felt like his hands were crushing my heart instead. I kicked and struggled, but the hands didn't let go. My vision blurred. I suddenly felt lightheaded. I stopped struggling. I couldn't formulate any thoughts. I couldn't make a sound. I woke up gasping for air. My sheets were drenched in sweat. The dream was way too real. I could still feel the hands gripping on my neck. I touched my neck. The skin felt tender, and it hurt. I turned on my lamp and looked at my neck with my phone's selfie camera. My neck was bruised. Suddenly, the hair on the back of my neck stood up. I looked up instantly and saw a figure in the corner of my room. It was a tall figure. I recognized it. Sir? Mr. Chandra walked from the corner of the room towards me. I was frozen in fear. The next thing I remember is seeing all black. He's making me type this up right now. I don't know what will happen to me after I hit the post button. Consider this a warning. Please don't slack off during online class.